Welcome to our latest episode of Life in Stereo. And I'm your host for today. Usually I'm the co-host. Today, our regular host, Steve Stone. He's on a well-deserved vacation at a camp, I believe, in Wisconsin. We've been trying to run a bunch of these podcasts, and at one point Steve said, Steve, you're I need a break, Steve. We're running too many. So he's up at camp. And before we introduce our special guest today, we're coming to you live from the Individual Advocacy Group Day Training Center. Steve comes here every day, Monday through Friday, for services, and I'm a 20-year plus employee. If anybody wants to know about what we do, how to donate, some of our upcoming events, such as our September 3rd golf outing at the Arrowhead Golf Club in Wheaton, Illinois, you can go to our website, www.iagcares.org. That'll tell you all about us, how to donate, etc., etc. Today we're honored, and I do say honored and privileged, to have a multi-instrumentalist, singer, songwriter, and probably some people would say, and I don't say this, but some people would say most noted for playing bass with Slash and Myles Kennedy and the Conspirators. But if you look at our guest Todd Kerns' resume, it's much more than just playing with, not that just playing with Slash, but, you know, working with Slash. He's done so many things. We want to welcome Todd Kerns to our program. Thanks for coming on. And I want to tell the viewers that Todd has been so gracious. I saw Triumph, I think it was May 13th at the Allstate Arena. Todd was playing for them. The next day I messaged him, or the couple days after, hey Todd, we do a podcast. And right away he said, hey, I'll love to do it once the tour's over, and good to his word, he's here. So I want to just tell the viewers what a stand-up person that Todd Kerns is.
I'm also just desperate for attention, Steve. This is just
well, the way your schedule is. Can you tell me the name of your current group? You started the group a while back, but you're on tour with your band.
Currently, I'm out with a thing called Took, which is myself, Brent Fitz, who you saw with Triumph. We play in Slash together as well.
Okay.
So, but we're all Canadian guys and that live in the U.S. and we started doing an all-Canadian classic rock tribute show, mostly just for benefits and charity things. And then it turned into, every summer we go out for a run of festival dates. This summer this weekend we're going to be playing with Billy Idol, David Lee Roth, and then
oh wow, nice,
and then Motley Crue actually a couple days later. So it's so it keeps us very busy. It's the guitar player is Corey Churko. He was with Shania for a long time. Reba McEntire. He's currently with Kelly Clarkson, and he does Don Felder from the Eagles. And the drummer Shane Gallus is
Shane. I know that name. He's L.A. Guns, maybe.
Shane. He's played with a whole bunch of different guys, but he currently plays in a Japanese band that is like a huge group over there. So they do 60,000 people at the Tokyo Dome, and they're massive over there. It's the most interesting thing of how he has found this whole other chapter in Japan. It's fascinating. So so we've all known each other since I've known Corey since '86. We just did the math the other day because we grew up in the same area. So and then the other guys I met probably in the '90s. So yeah, we've known each other a long time. Everybody's doing other things, and we just started doing this fun Canadian thing. So I just got home from that last night. I'm home for a couple of days, and I go back out for what we do with the Billy Idol Roth show in Calgary.
The
Stampede.
I just saw Roth a couple weekends ago in Milwaukee Fest.
I'm actually excited to see it. I'm friendly with Steve Stevens from Billy Idol, who I just saw Billy Idol open for The Who here a few months ago in Las Vegas. So yeah, I'm quite excited.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, from Canada, so big hockey fan or big wrestling fan? Which one? Which one?
Well, hockey is sort of omnipresent. We all sort of live and breathe it. Wrestling for sure where we grew up, there was a thing called Stampede Wrestling out of Calgary,
Sure,
and
right.
it was all the Hart families. They sort of that's where we saw all those guys in a sort of every Saturday, I guess it was afternoon. You'd watch it on TV, and that was sort of went on to be the WWF and all that went on to
Sure.
be gigantic, but was sort of witnessing it in real time a little bit. The Stampede Wrestling was so much more. It just felt smaller, really, and but a lot of those guys went on to do the WWF, WWE now, I guess. But yeah,
Right, yeah.
so
I
we love
still
it.
call
I
it
have
WWF, I think.
I still do too. I have a well. There's this guy right here from the AEW, my friend Chris Jericho. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, Chris Jericho.
who's
I
also
just,
Canadian. So he's here. I had I don't know where he's gone, but I always have a Bret Hart kicking around because he's
okay.
sort of my guy. But yeah, it's funny that you say that because in Canada it's so cold. You're either playing hockey or you're playing guitar. So we were one of those. I started playing hockey when I was a kid. I picked up a guitar, and that was sort of the end of that. But I really enjoy it, and I still love it. I was lucky enough to see the Knights here in Las Vegas win the cup. I was there at the game, front row, like
Awesome.
just watched it. It was like I've never seen and probably never will see a team win. Well, maybe I will, but the chances of actually watching a team win the cup was a big deal.
It is. It's a huge deal.
Yeah,
And they almost did it again.
they almost did it again. Yeah,
It's pretty amazing. We're from Chicago, so of course the Hawks have been around forever. We won the three Stanley Cups close to each other, but here comes a expansion team, and within a couple years they win the Stanley Cup. It's like,
well,
oh, wow.
the other interesting thing to note is my cousin Sheldon Brookbank
I
was
know the name.
he was on the team when they won in 2013. So he's from the same small town in Saskatchewan, Canada, where I'm from, and he's wearing the ring and all that 2013 with the Chicago Blackhawks. So yeah, the Blackhawks is a big part of my family too because both of my cousins have worked for the organization in one way or another. So both
For the
brothers played.
Blackhawks, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
both brothers worked for or were they did like the Ducks and the Canucks and trying to think who else they've been on a bunch of different teams over the years
Okay.
and uh, and then Sheldon ended up on the Blackhawks and I believe he was on the bench when they won the cup, but you know what? He was there.
He got the ring, right?
He
Yeah,
got
he's
the
got
ring
the ring.
exactly.
That's awesome. Um, we actually did try to get a hold of Chris Jericho. I don't know why I couldn't get through to him, but I actually saw him a couple weeks ago also with his quarantine
Yeah,
show,
yep.
which is a very interesting.
It's fun.
it-
Yeah, yeah.
it's really good. It's really good. Now let me mention a couple other things. So uh, Todd plays for Slash, featuring Myles Kennedy and the Conspirators, front man for the Electric Ace, and co-founder of a historical band that I always like. And whenever I say their name to anybody, they're like, "Who?" The Sin City Sinners. You
Yeah.
know, so tell us before we start talking about the tours and the Triumph. Tell me about the nickname. That's how I noticed you at the show. The Damn It Rosemont,
Yeah.
Rosemont Damn It. So, and I read up, and that's some kind of nickname that you got from somebody.
Well, Todd Dammit, of course, rhymes with GD, so it became kind of a. I'm looking around to see if there's any examples. One of the guitars here has a damn it on it. It's kind of like it became just sort of a gag that sort of someone gave me a shirt. Doc from the Sinners actually gave me a shirt that said "Damn it" on it for my birthday one year, and I wore it. And people kept asking. I wore it on the DVD that we'd shot in 2011 with Slash in Stoke-on-Trent. It's called Made in Stoke was the name of the live album and the live DVD. And everybody was like, where do I get that shirt? I want that shirt. I go, well, this is the shirt. There's only one shirt. I don't know what to tell you. So we eventually started just, making the shirt, and then it sort of kind of became a whole other thing. So here we are 16, 15 years later, and it's kind of taken on a life of its own. I never would have expected it. It was just kind of a funny nickname, and guys like Vinnie Paul from Pantera lived here in Vegas, and I don't think he knew my real name. He just called me Todd Dammit. He loved to call it Todd Dammit. Yeah.
And then Slash introduced you that way sometimes.
And then Slash introduced me.
Okay.
Usually with an MF in the middle too. He's very prolific when it comes to cursing.
And then you started a clothing line and guitar, even a coffee line, right? With
Yeah,
that?
there's coffee. There's, hang on, I'll grab this guitar.
Yeah.
There's coffee. There's a liqueur we made.
Holy
This
cow.
this is one of the it's a rare one because we had it made for my friend Jimmy Webb in New York City. He passed away, but he used to have this crazy pink shop, and you
Wow.
can see right there it says "Damn it"
Okay. Yeah,
in the.
cool guitar.
But it's yeah, it's one of the basses that I play on the Slash tours, and it's just here because I went to the storage unit and was like, hey, I got to bring that home because it's a bit of history that I would like to have around. Rather, I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot of our stuff just sitting in storages, in Los Angeles and Las Vegas, just waiting to be used, and it's meant to be played. You know what I mean?
Sure. And I see the Eddie Van Halen guitar behind you.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know where it is, but yeah, I have a
Oh,
lot of these are like funny, just Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons. Weirdly enough, just some weird signature guitars. That's a Paul Gilbert there. I got them covered in extra guitar straps that I just came around. But yeah,
good.
Johnny Ramone's over here.
How
And
many
for some reason,
guitars do you own in total?
I have
Would you
no
say?
idea. It's an embarrassing amount, frankly.
Uh,
I have a wife that's a bit of an enabler, so she's always like, "Ooh, that's a nice one." But wives get hip to the value of guitars can be valuable and they will increase in value. So they're not necessarily opposed to the purchasing of a guitar that might somewhere down the road be worth more. But
Sure.
I've never been really too big on collecting. I usually just have um, like mainly just things that I like. This is my first guitar. It's a Gibson Les Paul custom it's an 83, but I bought it back
Beautiful.
in 89. It was like showroom new when I got it. This headstock's been broken like 4 times. It's just been beat up and around the world 100 times, and it weighs 11 pounds. It's a monster. So, but yeah, it's just having a ridiculous amount of guitars. It gets to a point where I don't really buy them all that much. When I say I buy them, I get more specific about what I would like to have rather than just having, ooh, that's a nice one. Oh, I have to have it in this color and this color and this color. And the next thing you know, you become like a kid that just kind of we just love guitars.
Sure. Now tell us, I know there was a story about you seeing your first concert at the Forum, and how did you get involved? Tell us about the Triumph tour and about the first time you saw them, your first concert.
Oh, well, Triumph is an interesting one. Being Canadian, they again are a very omnipresent uh, band. I mean, it's just kind of like, by the time I was actually kind of gigging and doing stuff, they had pretty much wrapped it up. So I never really got to see them back in the day. Oddly enough, Fitz and I both had a chance to jam with Rick Emmett
Okay.
in 2013. He just happened to be at this event we were playing, and Rick got up and played with us. It was so interesting to have reconnected many years later and done this. But I was sitting here in my studio like this when Phil X just called me and said, "Hey, this is last year, I guess," and he was like, "Hey, we're doing this." Or the Triumph guys, Gil and Rick, are talking about doing this thing over in Edmonton, Canada. They've been playing "Lay It on the Line" as a for the hockey playoffs and all
Okay.
that sort of stuff. So, and they thought, well, wouldn't it be cool at one of the playoff games, Florida Panthers and Edmonton Oilers, to play "Lay It on the Line"? And I go, okay. It was very sort of like, what are you doing Tuesday? Like one of those calls. It's like, I happened to be like a window of time where I was like, okay, what does it entail? And mostly because Mike had some health stuff that he's been dealing with over the
Right.
past few years. So
Yeah.
we're still hoping that he can, be a part of it somewhere, somehow. But at the time, it was like, okay, well, yeah, of course. It sort of exploded into 3 songs: "Fight the Good Fight" and "Allied Forces." And I think there was even talk of doing like "Magic Power" or something like that, but that didn't happen. Anyway, long story short was, like we just went, and Fitz got involved. Brent Fitz, the other drummer that we've been doing. And it was no real intention of what was going to happen to it. I mean, there was talk of trying to do some sort of, prior to that, Phil had mentioned that Gil would like to see some way of taking the Triumph music, whether it was an homage or a tribute type thing, and just have some kind of show out there that would do something. And I was always like, well, of course, being Canadian, especially, not really even being aware of the impact they had south of the border for us. So we, long story short, we did that gig at the hockey game, and it just sort of steamrolled into an entire run that we just did this year.
It was a fantastic show. And so Rick contacted you and said, hey, jump on board on this tour, or he contacted you about that?
Pretty much. I mean, most of the talk was coming through Phil, but but we
Okay,
spoke to everybody involved. As you know, Gil and Rick, they had their separation for many years.
sure.
So for them to reconnect was a big deal, and getting to see them kind of play together night after night, and not only that, but having nights or mornings where I'd wake up and come downstairs, and in the hotel restaurant, it's like, hey, that's Gilmore and Rick Emmett sitting over there having breakfast together. I was like, it was such a cool experience having just the whole thing was just so cool. And Mike was very much a part of everything. He wasn't touring, but he was very much a part of overseeing much of the show and the business involved. Those guys are very, very very together. Like Gil and Mike sort of carry most of the business side of it, and Rick is sort of the musical visionary and musical director essentially. So it was really, really one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. I mean, being able to kind of do that, and like I say, really learning that, like, of course, Canada, loves Triumph. Triumph's one of the first bands mentioned when someone knows I'm Canadian. They go,
Sure.
there's a few bands that get mentioned, and Triumph is one of them. But
Rush, Triumph, yeah.
of course, yeah. And once we got into the States, it was just mind-boggling to me. I just wasn't aware. We did. Texas especially was gigantic for Triumph, and so there is some talk about maybe trying to do another quicker run because we didn't do any West Coast stuff. But at the moment, it's I'm in full toque mode, and
Right, right.
yeah, it's just but it's been wonderful.
It was a fantastic show, and um for some reason, I'm a big rock fan, but for some reason, I had never been in tune with Phil X. I
Mm.
don't know how I missed it. I'm older, I guess, but he's fantastic. I mean,
Yeah,
geez,
yeah.
I mean, he really is phenomenal. Just amazing. And like I said, I just wanted to again reiterate to the fans that when I reached out to Todd here, automatically sent to me, and yeah, I'd love to do it, blah blah blah. So that was just fantastic. Now, tell us about Slash and playing with Slash. What kind of a guy is Slash?
Slash is a super chill, um, California chill, but an incredibly driven individual. He really has always been. Um, I mean, I don't know anybody who is quite as single-mindedly playing guitar all the time. I mean, and he's sort of always growing. He's a better guitar player today than he has ever been. I think that's, I mean, you would probably think that anybody would be if it comes to just the same putting that kind of time in, you would just get better and better and better. But he is one of those guys that's just always pushing himself and always trying to kind of to grow. But we started playing together in 2010, so that's 16 years ago.
Hmm.
We have a new record coming out, so by the time we get out and support that, we'll have been doing this for 17 years together,
Okay.
off and
So
on,
there is a
obviously.
new something coming up after the Guns N' Roses
Yeah,
tour. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. We put it in the can like over the end of 25 into 26, and
Okay.
then it's just sort of been done, and we are currently in the mode of like maybe trying to get a music video together and photo shoots and all that kind of stuff, which is very we're way ahead of the curve here, but because everyone's schedules are so ridiculous,
Yeah.
it puts us in a position to be like, well, when we can find windows of time to get everyone together, then we have to take advantage of it.
So there may be a tour in the forefront at some point?
In 27, I think around April,
27. Okay.
in April 27, we're planning on trying to get back out and do a bit of a world tour. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great. Can't
Yeah,
wait.
yeah.
I think I saw you guys at the Riviera in Chicago.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
I
can't
love
even
that place.
remember how long ago it was, but
Yeah, I
you
love the
know.
Riv. That's great. You know what? The first time we played there, we played with Billy Idol. It was
Okay,
interesting to say
wow.
that. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
at
it's a nice
Wildcats.
little theater. They've done some remodeling, so
Oh, have they?
you,
Wow,
you'll like it even better.
I love it.
Tell us about some of the other bands. Now we know you're playing right now with
Took.
Took,
It rhymes with Duke. I have to always tell.
Took.
It's a Canadian word, oddly enough. It
Okay.
means it means beanie. I'm trying to think if I have
I was
that in
gonna say,
Canada.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just like a beanie that with the pom pom,
Okay.
the full like South Park beanie. But in Canada they call it a toque, and I we were trying to look for something to call ourselves. I just thought like we just thought like it's one of those words that's only used in Canada. It's a French word actually. It means some kind of hat, but it got taken over, and that's why we went with that.
I've heard that name because I played hockey all my life,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
not well, but and some guy would say the Took. So
Hmm.
um also some of my favorites you've played with or been on the stage with Tracy Guns,
Sure,
correct?
yeah, yeah, yeah. We did a record together during COVID. It was a funny time because during COVID there was a lot of talk of like we're never going to play again. Touring is going to be completely changed, and it's funny to imagine that now because it didn't really change anything at all. But a lot of what we could do was record here at home. You know what I mean? Like I could sort of sit here and so I did a record with some friends of mine from Ace Frehley's band, and we called it Minefield. We did one of those. I did a record with my friends from the drummers from Evanescence, and the guitar player played in a million different things. We called it Heroes and Monsters. So I go to Europe with that sometimes. And then Tracy and I did a record together called um, Blackbird Angels, and that was again really fun. Like just I'm like like literally sitting around not doing much of anything, and then everybody's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm literally doing nothing." So it became kind of like, "Okay, let's do this," and that's sort of what happened as I just started to sit here and write lyrics and create vocals, and then just sort of record them and send them off to him, and they would mix them, and we put it out. So all this stuff can be found on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, or you can get
Okay.
the compact discs if you want.
I'm gonna look
But
that up because I love, you're fantastic and I love LA Guns, Tracy Guns, and
yeah,
Phil Lewis still sounds great.
Phil's the best. Yeah,
I mean,
he's
really
the
unbelievable.
I think LA Guns in a lot of ways is better than ever. I've been lucky to have to be around them many times, and they just sound stronger than ever in a funny way. Like they're like they've sort of really kind of carved out this place for themselves, and they're really strong.
Right, they're very good, and I'm going to
Yeah,
see them I think in July at the Arcada Theater here. But
nice.
every show they play, they just come on, not a lot of talking. They jam out, they blast the place down, and then leave. But it's just a great show. They're so good. They're so
Yeah,
good.
agreed.
So tell me about the Sin City Sinners. I don't even know how I came about them.
I'm
I can't
curious
even,
too. Where
I don't even.
did you
I don't
see
even
them?
know. I
Were
saw
you
you guys in Vegas.
okay? Do you know
And this,
where? What venue?
yeah, I think it was, I'm trying to remember. There was a show at the Hard Rock.
Okay.
It was either Motley Crue
Yeah.
or I think it was Motley Crue at the time. I don't think
Yeah.
it was Guns N' Roses. But then
That sounds
in the
right.
downstairs area after the show, you guys were playing.
Yeah, there was a place called Vinyl. It's still there. That place has been taken over by Virgin, and it's called something else now.
Okay.
But it was a small room down there. The Sinners. When I first came to Vegas in 2000, I first came in 2003 for some unrelated gigs and whatnot. But in 2006, I decided to come down and sort of be more feet on the ground and sort of present, as it were. And So in 2006, I had met Brent Muscat from Faster Pussycat,
Yep.
and he had decided they were going to do some sort of Faster Pussycat run in Europe. And he said, "Do you want to come play guitar?" And I said, "Of course." You know, oddly enough, after all those years of playing music already, I had never been to Europe or the UK or any of that. So I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So we went over. We did. It was it was a very strange version of Faster Pussycat because it was Brent, Eric on bass, and Brett, the second drummer from Faster Pussycat, on drums. And then myself and my friend Kurt were sort of in place with this other guitar and front man. So Tammy wasn't there. It was a very strange thing.
Okay.
It was with Enough's Enough and Bullet Boys, and we went over and did the UK down into Italy, Spain, Greece. It was really, really fun. I really had a blast. And anyway, it was sort of very chaotic, and whatever was going on between Brent and Tammy eventually came to whatever business decision that, look, Tammy's going to do this. And it was like, okay. And then Brent and I, while we were out there, just sort of said, there was this really cool room in well, room is an extreme is a stretch, because it was just a dive bar that they literally called the Dive Bar here in Las Vegas that we used to do jams and stuff at. And we decided to, let's just do a Tuesday night over at the Dive Bar, and we can have our friends up, because we have friends all over Vegas playing in multiple shows, and turn it into a jam night. And
That's pretty cool.
and we
Yeah.
just called it the Sin City Sinners, because it just,
Okay.
because I was always laughing at the fact you drive around Sin City Auto and Sin City Nail Spa. I always just kind of thought it was really funny that they used it for everything. So I just sort of said the Sin City Sinners would be the most ridiculous thing to call ourselves, and that they would just call us the Sinners. So long story short, that's what we called it. And it became like, suddenly we had people like George Lynch coming out to jam with us, or
Wow.
Sylvain Sylvain from the New York Dolls, and Cheetah
Mhm.
Chrome from the Dead Boys. And
Wow.
so we had a really long list of very cool, Slim Jim Phantom from the Stray Cats, and a lot of really cool people that were heroes of mine and ours were suddenly like on stage with us. And it was one of those things that literally started as a Tuesday night for no money, just for fun, and grew into being in Las Vegas showrooms. And because when it would first come up, they'd be like, "Hey, do you guys want to do this over there in like some nice showroom where they would have like a show band with horns and the whole thing?" And I go, "You want to put this there?" I go, "Sure," and it was always pretty damn successful, actually, because we were just kind of it was just fun, and we really made it a party, and we did that for, well, I guess 2007 till about, I was still involved once I kind of joined Slash in 2010,
Okay.
but my time got, less and less, just because
Sure.
I was so busy, and eventually I had to kind of step out around 2011. I got 2012, I can't remember, but yeah, so it became quite successful in this town, and we have the greatest relationship still. So the lineup that kind of went on to do the brunt of it, myself, Brent Muscat, Doc Ellis, and Rob Cornway. We have done reunion shows here and there. We haven't done one in a while, but we try to do them once in a while.
Okay.
Rob has since moved to Alabama, back to Alabama where he came from, and then so it's been harder to get him together with us. But it's been a blast.
That's one of those shows I still remember being there, and I loved it. And I think I was with two buddies after Motley Crue. They cast it in. I said, "I'm staying. I don't care what time," because it was a little later after the show. So
Of
yeah, it was
course, yeah,
great. And I think I'm sure I got this at the merch booth at the
you
show.
must have, yeah, yeah.
I don't even know where, but I still have the Sin City Sinner shirt. So
That's great.
thank you for them, for that
No.
group. Now, would you like to kind of promote a little bit about your guitars and your bass guitars, Prestige guitars, I think it is,
Yeah,
right?
Prestige is friends of mine out of Vancouver, where I lived for a long time. And I've always been a big guitar fan. I love guitars, and I love, basses and designing them. And almost every guitar I get, I go, or a guitar I come across, I go, I love this guitar, but I would do this. I always have like a slight customization that I would probably do to it. So when I started to kind of design my own guitars with those guys, we ended up in 2017. We ended up in Guitar World magazine getting a platinum award for the guitar itself.
Wow.
I don't have the guitar version here with me. It's actually, there's some out there, but it it just it got a lot of love. It's a tough racket, that whole thing about trying to compete with the big dogs, the Gibsons and the Fenders. That was never my intention. It's sort of like we have a great relationship with all those companies, but I just I like it doesn't mean I don't play other things, because I do. I play the entire Triumph tour. I was playing my old Fender Precision bass, but it's just kind of a passion of mine, and most of whatever I'm doing or whatever I'm promoting, you can find on my social media. Todd Kerns on Instagram, Todd Dammit Kerns on X, I guess they call it, and toddkerns.com. You can find me. So when it comes to everything from like Took has its own beer, Took has its own hot sauce.
Wow. Okay.
The Dammit brand has its own coffee liqueur, like a liquor, and coffee, and t-shirts, and obviously all the merch that we do. So it's just, it's kind of like this. This says, this says "damn it" on the back of this hoodie that I'm wearing. So yeah, but it's always. I said to the people that I got, our team of these merch and people. I just said, look, I'm a musician. I have no interest in being a t-shirt salesman. So whatever we end up doing with all that, as long I'm always going to be putting music first. So don't expect me to be the. I mean, it's the funniest thing, because sometimes, in life, sometimes if something catches on, like suddenly you're making some sort of, whether it's merch or alcohol or food or whatever, and suddenly that catches fire and becomes like the focus. And next thing you know, you're selling some sort of coffee liqueur, and that becomes the brunt of your thing, where it's like, he's also a musician. And you're like,
Right.
what? Really? I was
Yeah,
like,
you don't want that. Right.
yeah, I guess it's a good problem to have if something like that happened, but it hasn't been a problem as far as like that hasn't happened to me, as far as where one of the things has become such a focus. It's just all kind of it's all just kind of part of,
Sidelight to
yeah,
what
and
you
it's
really
all
do.
part of the fun of just doing what we do.
It's
It's really,
cool.
yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, before I contacted you, I looked up the shirt caught my eye, of course, and then I looked up your bio. I said I gotta try to get Todd Kerns on because, not that all musicians don't know, but you do so many different things. I just wanted people to kind of see the millions of different things that you do. Uh, Before we wrap it up, you shared the stage or something like that of one of my favorites, Michael Monroe.
Yes, 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 many times. Yeah, Michael is. I've been a huge Hanoi Rocks fan my whole life.
Yes, of course.
So I finally saw Michael here in Las Vegas. He came through at the Hard Rock,
Okay.
um, and a place called Wasted Space. It was a club that Age of Electric used to, or Age of like not Age of Electric, the Sin City Sinners used to play there all the time, and we were like the house band, and so I finally got to see Michael, and then eventually a friend of mine ended up playing guitar for Michael Monroe, and 2015, I think it was the end of December of 2015, the guitar player Steve Conti his wife was having a baby, so he needed to take a break. So my friend Rich asked me, "Hey, come play guitar," and I was like, "Hell yeah!"
Well, yeah,
So
wow.
and
Nice.
that was a European run that they were doing, and it was a Sammy Hagar on bass, so he's from Hanoi Rocks as well. So it was a big deal to stand there. It's the same as like Triumph and
Sure.
or playing with Slash and Duff sometimes, where you look over and you go, "Those are the guys from that thing."
Right. It's
Um,
amazing.
but in more recently, I've been filling in for Sammy Yaffa when they come over here to America, because they are he's such a notable figure over there. Sammy and Michael in Finland are like, like they're heroes over there. So Sammy has his own TV show and whatnot. So he often doesn't come to America because of scheduling issues. So I just get asked if I can kind of play bass, and I love doing it. Michael's still he's 63 now, I think, and he's still doing the splits and still
I mean,
doing
that energy that he has
yeah,
is like ridiculous. I saw him years ago. He came through Reggie's in Chicago.
sure, Reggie's, yeah,
I only saw like a few of his songs. I said, "This is somebody's that's got I got to see live." And I was like, "Holy cow!" And
yeah,
then, did you play on the when he last recently came through America? That was a
yep,
couple of years.
yep,
Oh, so you
yep.
played the Arcada in St. Charles?
Arcada, yeah, it was fantastic. I love
Okay,
that place. Yeah,
that's all right. We had the
yeah.
owner Ron Onesti on one of our earlier episodes.
Oh, great, great. That's a beautiful place.
It really is.
Yeah,
It
it was
really
a
is.
blast. Yeah,
So I
there was
saw you at that point.
yeah, there was
Um,
talk of them doing a run with Tom Kiefer that didn't. Oh, Michael blew out his knee or something. There was a couple things that they've had that they've tried to do, like sort of a co-headlining bill of some sort. So who knows? I mean, I'm pretty busy next year, so I would love to do it, but we'll see what happens. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
he's fantastic. He
the
really is.
best. Yeah, the greatest.
Um, Anything else you want to promote, Todd? I know you give us your website, your X site, your everything
Yeah,
else.
if you're, I mean, or go to toquerocks.com. You can find all the Toque activity up there. This whole
Okay.
summer is Toque. Then into the fall, I'm not quite sure what exactly. I mean, the fall I've kind of got a little bit open because I'm wondering what's going to happen with Triumph.
Okay.
And then into the winter, Toque will fire back up for a winter run. And then the Slash Camp will eventually
Hmm.
get into rehearsals and off we go. Yeah, it's a pretty weird. I mean, I came crashing into the end of 2025, and I looked at my wife and I said, "That was the craziest year I've ever experienced, and I would like to take my foot off the pedal for a while." And then the Triumph call came in, and I was like, "I guess we're gonna hit the pedal to the metal a little harder." And it's been like that ever since. So a lot of people like, I mean, just this past weekend that went by, I was in Saskatchewan, Canada, and then I flew into Laguna Beach, California for my friend's wedding, and we got up and jammed. And then I immediately flew back to around Winnipeg in Canada to play. And it was like, you know, it was just a whirlwind of 3 days in a row, praying that your flight connections work and all that. And but people are always like, wow, I follow you, and I'm like, you're here, you're there, where are you? What are you doing? And I go, it's a good problem to have that you have this opportunity that these things can present themselves because uh, I just assume one day I'll be 80 years old and just kind of go, what the hell just happened? You know what I mean? So in the meantime, although life goes pretty fast, I have no complaints. It's life is good, and it's like I say, a good problem to have to be so busy.
Yeah, you really are. That's fantastic. When you guys did you play at the wedding? Is that where you jammed in Laguna
Yeah,
Beach?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So we were at the wedding, and Blas Elias from Slaughter, who plays with me, and
Oh, yeah, he's great. Yeah.
yeah, and then Zach and Jimmy are both sat in, and we just kind of got up and did that. It was it's like this upcoming weekend. Like I said, it's like we play with David Lee Roth and Billy
Hmm.
Idol, and then we go to our own show in a town called Lloydminster in Saskatchewan, Alberta, and then we go to play with Motley Crue in Vancouver. So it's just these wild runs of like just chaotic
Yeah.
good times.
What an interesting life. What an interesting guest. We want to thank you again. I know I'm going to see you again because all the bands I go see, you're going to be in one of them. So I'll see you here in Chicago. When I see you guys scheduled at the Riv, maybe with Slash, I'll
Yeah,
shoot
that'd be
you a
great.
message and say, hey, I'll see you on whatever date. But I just want to thank you for coming on. You're a great guest. What an interesting story. And I hope we can run into each other again. Thanks, Todd.
I'm sure we
Really,
will.
really
Thanks so
appreciate it.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.